mainstream media, the New York Times editorial board, the CNN, MSNBC, to stop walking on eggshells and giving legitimacy to these rants, to all this false narrative coming out of this Black Lives Matter movement. Once we do that and marginalize this group, then we can go about all the work. I listened to Loretta Lynch today. That was a great political statement, but nothing else. I don't need to be lectured to her about what we should or shouldn't do after this. I think she should have taken questions. Whenever you have an incident like this, somebody, the chief down there is doing a fabulous job of keeping the public informed. She came out. She intermingled this thing with some, gun control, this, that, and then just, took off. That was irresponsible. So once, the rhetoric I don't think is going to go away, but we need to delegitimize this Black Lives Matter movement. We've had enough of their nonsense.
Sheriff, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Megan.
Well, props to Megyn Kelly. I will give her credit. I mean, she's still a Fox News basically clone. And she walks the party line when it comes to Obama and a lot of serious issues, Hillary Clinton. But I will give her that she will at least try to push, if she believes there's a truth out there that's being not focused on or being glossed over, she will make an attempt to try to set the record straight. You just heard one of the biggest Gilligans. He's been a Gilligan of the Week several times over the years on the Nathan Ivey Show, even before we were doing it officially once per week. And that's Sheriff David Clark. And I've seen photographs of him at Republican convention, and he's the black guy with the cowboy boots and the hat on. That's always one, and that's who he is. And whenever they give him a microphone, he does his job to work for the man. He wants to make sure he keeps being called back to do his interview on Fox, and probably we'll watch the Sheriff David Clark show one day on Fox, right? And this dude says that, number one, what in the hell does the Nation of Islam have to do with it at all? Did you hear how he dragged in the Nation of Islam and connected it to Black Lives Matter and connected it to any other group that he doesn't like that's got black people in it? This man is ridiculous. I want to nominate Mr. Sheriff David Clark for the Just Shut Up Award.
Shut the f*** up, okay? Just leave it at that.
Shut your ass up, man. Shut up. Negro. Nothing that he said made any sense whatsoever, did it? It was just so full of generalities and fear-mongering and saying what he thinks he needs to say in order to be called back to the Megyn Kelly show. I mean, just downright despicable. But that's who he is, Sheriff David Clark. He says they should be investigated. He says they should be marginalized. So what does that mean? That means he's upset that Black Lives Matter is getting so much attention, which means that it's working. I happen to agree with Sheriff David Clark. Rather than marginalize Black Lives Matter, I think that what they're saying needs to be prioritized. It needs to be the focus. It needs to be prioritized, not marginalized, because I think that it'll make our community stronger. And that's just my opinion, but that's Sheriff David Clark. What do you think? Someone brought up the fact that Wendy Williams has been taking heat, and she has been. If you don't know why, let me give you some details. Wendy Williams, who from time to time I've watched her show and I've enjoyed it because she just, well, a couple things. I've seen some people go on her show and just give her the business, give her the blues, and I've seen her give a lot of other people the blues. She starts her show with something called Hot Topics, okay? And she just does basically a flow about current events, a lot of gossip stuff. Well, for whatever reason, she decided that she was going to start talking about HBCUs. And she said, listen, why is it that we have historically black colleges? Okay? We don't have any historically white colleges, which is ridiculous. And she says, quote, what if there was the National Organization for White People Only, ? There's the NAACP. So she's trying to make this point that you don't need historically black colleges and universities, which I think she's absolutely wrong. I guess once you get to the level of Wendy Williams, you start to get colorblind. I don't see color. But Wendy Williams is a multi-millionaire, okay? She's a millionaire a million times over. She could probably stop doing her show right now and live comfortably with her husband for the rest of her life. She probably does not need the money. I think what happens with some people is that when they reach a certain level, they transcend race. She's not black. She's not white. She's Wendy. How you doing, right? So that's what people focus on. And she's up in her ivory tower, I guess. That's ridiculous. What she didn't know is that the president and CEO of Ace Media Corp, which is the company that was responsible for facilitating a big partnership between Chevy and also the Wendy Williams Show. Again, the Wendy Williams Show and Chevy were going to be working together. They got this new car coming out, and it was going to be this great deal for the Wendy Williams Show. That means more money, more visibility, all those kind of good things. And what she didn't know is that Andrea Holmes Tompkins, who is the president and CEO of Ace Media Corp, as I said before, they are negotiating and responsible for facilitating the Chevy partnership. She graduated from Howard University, idiot. Talking about sticking your foot in your mouth. So here she is trying to appease primarily her white audience. Let's keep it real. Wendy Williams. It's daytime television. And she sticks her foot in her mouth and basically offends the president and CEO of the entity that is negotiating a big sponsorship deal with her. But, hey, her bias against, I guess, her own kind, her own people, is what did her in. It's what did her in. Ridiculous. How do you denounce HBCUs? It's ridiculous. And she was also seen to be denouncing the Jesse Williams speech. And listen, you can have your opinion about it. You should be able to have your opinion about it on the show. And, hey, that's just the way it is, I guess. Now, do I believe that she should, watch every word she says because she fears her sponsorship? I mean, that's up to her. It's something she should be mindful of. She might not miss it. It may not be no big deal to her. But for that particular reason, because you're anti-HBCU, that's a little preposterous for me. I'm reading that Black Lives Matter activist DeRay McKinson, who, as I understand it, just got a position making about $175,000 working with the school systems, I believe, in Baltimore, was arrested at a Baton Rouge protest. All over the nation, there have been protests in cities across the United States, all over this country. And Black Lives Matter activists have been, from Minnesota to Louisiana to California to Colorado to Florida to New York to Pennsylvania to Cincinnati to Rhode Island to Utah, all over the country. People went to the streets. So what happened yesterday was the local version, of what's happening all over the country. But what happens next? How do we take this outrage and transform it into something of substance that will move the needle, that'll make our streets safer, that will prevent officers from pulling the trigger too fast, that will prevent, and again, I'm not sure what these men could have done any differently. Like Philando, you're riding a car. There was nothing else he could have done. There was nothing else he could have done. The man in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you got two officers on your body. I think that when you're in a situation like that and your body's under distress, then you kind of move involuntarily. Maybe you don't mean to. You're not trying to strike the officer, but damn it, you're trying to keep your life. Miss D writes, morning. Thank goodness I can listen to the podcast later. Thank you, Miss D. Got a lot of clicks for the show on Friday. Thank you very much. What else is here? So many. Brian writes, Roland Martin went in on Wendy, LOL, for good reason. Rhonda writes, so sad. I love my color, and I like it even more when I am my sunny kiss shade. I just don't understand, and yes, I judge bleach skin users too. Yes, I judge skin bleachers. If you are bleaching your skin, I'm judging you, and I'm judging you by saying that you don't love yourself. You don't like yourself. And it's very, very sad. Angela writes, the commonality is that they don't like what they see when they look back in the mirror. You're right. Rhonda writes, hair is different from bleached skin. Many women change their hair color, too many colors. Yeah, right. I think there's some women that go blonde because they're trying to be more European American. And I think there's some women that change their color just because they like to change their color. And it's not that they don't like their original color. It's just their spirit. Okay, they've got a colorful spirit. I get that. Angela writes, versatility is one thing, but when you attempt to change things about you that make you you, that's pretty telling in my opinion. That's a great point. So what she's saying is for some women, their hair is not them. It's just hair. Your face, come on now. Mike writes, Roland did let Wendy have it. She lost a sponsorship for her idiotic comments. She certainly did, a big sponsorship from Chevy. Well, I love HBCU. Somebody tell the folks at Chevy. I have no problem with it. And there's someday, over the years, I don't think about too much now, but right after college, even when I was in college, I used to think, man, I would have loved to have gone to an HBCU. Because I visited a few campuses here and there and I always thought that would be very nice. That'd be cool. Kiki writes, I agree with you, Mr. Ivey. She can gone with that ridiculous mess. And to anyone else who bleached them skin. Kush writes, when I went to West Africa, bleaching cream was a popular item. Shaking my head. That'll be so sad. To go to Africa in search of authenticity, in search for the origins of your roots. And you find some modern day Africans bleaching their damn skin. Talk about anticlimactic. Oh man, Miss D writes, so Nate, what are your thoughts on women who color their natural hair? Isn't that just enhancement and not the same as bleaching your skin? Right, I agree with you. It's enhancement. It's not the same. It's part of the same family, but on a different trees. On a different leaf, so to speak, or a different limb. It's part of the same mindset, but it's a less of a degree for some. Because don't get it twisted. Some of these sisters run around here with blonde hair because they're trying to be something they're never going to be. It's just not who you are. But then you got a lot, I think, older women. They're doing it because, well, maybe they don't want to show the grays. Let's keep it real. Or they just like to change it. It is what it is. Brittany writes, good morning, everyone. My black is beautiful. Wouldn't change anything about me. Black Lives Matter movement had an awesome, peaceful, large turnout. The media gave Cincinnati Black Lives Matter leader like a 5-second interview. Could it be because it was a peaceful movement and no arrests were made? Right. So if something would have jumped off yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, I wanted to see for myself. How many people were looking at the buildings? Did you look at the top of the buildings? If you marched, I did not march. I met up with some folks over at Washington Park. Ed writes, I dyed my beard to get the gray out. Yeah. Dale writes, I would like to know, how is it that he was a very trained sniper assassin, but he was only 25 years old? Doesn't it take years and years in the military to become to that level? Maybe he had a natural talent. Truther writes, this dude is another Clarence Thomas clown. Shaking my damn head. Yes, he is. John writes, man-portable air defense has been on the street since 2002. I've had training on such. The Chinese FN6 can be purchased on the black market. What? The Chinese FN6. Okay, so you're saying that those surface-to-air weapons are available? Craig writes, Sheriff Coon is at it again. He's a sucky MC. Kashana writes, is he black? Oh, man. Dale writes, he didn't say the KKK. Straight Coon. Smitherman is a Sheriff David Clark here. I happen to catch him calling on the black bashing radio station that I don't want to mention. And he's talking the same rhetoric. Yeah, because Smitherman, I'm going to tell you, man, listen, Chris Smitherman. Whoo, man, if people only knew. Let me tell you about Chris Smitherman. When Chris Smitherman was working at the same radio station I was, as a matter of fact, he was doing a weekend show, a couple hours, and he might even did the show right after me for some time. Because I was the anchor for that Saturday afternoon show. And there was many shows that came before and came after me. sort of using my show as an anchor on a Saturday, and that was the purpose of it.